Welcome back to Dreamy Train Tales. Thank you for joining me tonight. Now let's settle down and begin our journey together. If this brings you peace, please like and subscribe so we can explore more historic railways together, but only if it truly helps you unwind. And if you'd like, please share in the comments where you're listening from and what time of day it is for you right now. If you genuinely appreciate these journeys, you can support my channel by buying me a coffee through the link in the description. Every coffee helps me improve and create even more relaxing adventures for you. Thank you so much for your support. Tonight, you find yourself standing on the quiet platform of Orléans station, wrapped in the soft air of early spring. A pale morning mist settles along the tracks, drifting lazily in the cool light. The iron framework of the station arches gently overhead, painted in deep shades of green and cream that catch the brightness of dawn. Old posters cling to the walls behind you, their edges curled with time, inviting travelers to explore châteaux, vineyards, and river towns that line the Loire. Everything feels peaceful, unhurried, as if the entire station is stretching awake after a long night. Before we begin this journey together, take a moment to settle in wherever you are. Let your shoulders release their tension as you take a slow, gentle breath. Feel your body soften slightly, as though the calm air of this early morning in Orléans is brushing through your mind. Now, let your breath settle into its natural rhythm and allow the gentle spirit of this historic railway to guide you toward rest. The polished carriages of the Paris-Orléans Railway wait quietly at the platform, their deep emerald paint reflecting the soft light. Brass handles and window frames gleam warmly, as though they were polished only moments ago. A porter in a dark blue uniform steps past you, his footsteps light on the worn stone beneath your feet. He carries a small stack of leather suitcases, each one marked with the initials of travelers who will soon board. The quiet clink of metal clasps echoes faintly in the morning stillness. You step closer to your carriage, noticing the ornate lettering along its side. The Paris-Orléans Railway was known in the early 1900s for its refined service, and the details reflect that pride. The wooden door gives a soft click as you open it, and a gentle scent of polished oak and warm upholstery drifts out to greet you. You step aboard and feel the slight spring of the carriage floor beneath your feet. The gentle sway of the train, even while it rests, carries a soothing rhythm that encourages your muscles to loosen. As you take your seat by the window, you notice the fabric of the cushions beneath you. It feels soft, warm, and inviting, offering support in a way that lets your body sink just slightly into comfort. The armrests are smooth and cool beneath your hands, shaped carefully over years of gentle use. Outside your window, the platform comes alive with the subtle sounds of departure. A whistle blows softly in the distance, signaling that another train is preparing to leave. A group of passengers speaks in low tones near the far end of the platform, their voices blending into the muted hum of the morning. The porter returns, placing the last of the luggage onto the racks beneath the carriage, then steps back with a nod to the conductor. The conductor walks slowly down the platform, inspecting each carriage with practiced eyes. He wears a neat uniform with brass buttons that shine in the new light. As he passes your window, he gives a slight nod, acknowledging the passengers who have settled in. His presence adds a sense of safety, as though every detail has been carefully checked to ensure a smooth and gentle journey. A soft puff of steam rises from the engine at the front of the train. The Paris-Orléans locomotives of this era were known for their reliability, guiding travelers along the Loire with a smooth and steady motion. In the early 1900s, this line became one of the most important routes for connecting Paris with the châteaux and vineyards scattered across the valley. You think about the countless travelers who have taken this same journey, each one comforted by the familiar sway of the rails beneath them. The mist outside begins to lift slowly, revealing the outlines of Orléans beyond the station. You catch glimpses of rooftops, their red tiles glistening with dew. Narrow streets wind between the buildings, still quiet at this hour. A distant church bell begins to chime, its soft, measured notes drifting toward you on the cool breeze. The sound blends gently with the faint hum of the locomotive, creating a calm rhythm that settles your thoughts even further. The train gives a subtle shudder as the engine releases another breath of steam. You feel the slight tremble beneath your hands, almost like a soft heartbeat. The conductor raises his signal, and the platform begins to shift slowly past your window. The movement is smooth and unhurried, allowing your body to ease naturally into the gentle motion. The wheels roll forward with a soft clicking sound, a rhythm that feels steady and predictable, guiding your mind into a peaceful state. As the train glides out of Orléans station, the scenery begins to open before you. You watch the last of the stone arches pass by overhead, their shadows stretching across the windows for a brief moment. Beyond them, you see the curve of the Loire River shimmering under the morning light. Its surface reflects the colors of the sky, soft blues and pale golds blending together in a quiet dance. Small boats rest along the banks, tied to wooden posts that rise from the water. The air feels fresher now, carrying the scent of the river and the early spring blossoms that line the distant orchards. A line of trees stretches along the water, their branches dotted with budding flowers that sway gently in the breeze. The soft rustle of leaves reaches you even through the closed window, creating a peaceful backdrop to the steady rhythm of the train. You take a slow breath, letting the gentle scenery guide your senses. The cool air brushing the river carries a promise of new beginnings, as early spring often does. You feel your thoughts drift like the mist rising from the water, unhurried and light. The train continues its smooth roll along the rails, and you settle even deeper into your seat, ready to follow the calm path through the Loire Valley. The morning mist thins as the train continues its smooth roll along the curve of the Loire. You feel the carriage sway gently beneath you, the motion slow and comforting, as though the train is breathing in time with the river beside it. The soft rhythm invites your body to relax even more deeply into your seat. Your muscles loosen with each turn of the wheels, and a quiet warmth spreads across your chest as you let your breath settle into a calm, steady pace. Outside, the landscape opens into wide meadows brushed with early spring green. Dew clings to each blade of grass, creating a delicate shimmer that follows the train as it travels southward. The Loire River remains close, moving in unhurried curves. Its surface glows faintly with reflected light, shifting gently with the faint current. A group of white swans drifts near the far bank, their feathers bright against the soft colors of the morning. The track curves again, bringing a line of blooming orchards into view. Rows of fruit trees stretch across the land, their branches dotted with pink and white blossoms. The trees sway gently in the light breeze, releasing faint petals that drift across the fields like soft confetti. You watch the petals swirl and float, carried by the wind until they settle on the grass or disappear behind the train. The sight brings a lightness to your thoughts, a sense of ease that settles across your mind like a warm blanket. A small village appears ahead, nestled close to the water. Sunlight touches the stone walls of the houses, giving them a pale golden glow. Their roofs, made of terracotta tiles, warm slowly under the rising sun. The streets between them are narrow and quiet, lined with early spring flowers planted in wooden boxes beneath the windows. You imagine the villagers beginning their day, opening shutters, carrying fresh bread from the bakery, greeting one another with soft morning voices. As the train approaches, the village station comes into view. It is a small, charming building with a pointed roof and painted shutters, the color of faded lavender. A wooden sign above the entrance displays the station's name in looping black letters. A few travelers stand on the platform, wrapped in coats and scarves. They watch the train pass with calm expressions, some lifting their hands in gentle waves. You return the gesture in your mind, feeling the quiet connection that briefly links travelers and villagers alike. The Paris-Orléans Railway played a vital role in connecting communities like these during the early 1900s. It helped rural villages transport their goods, especially produce and wine, to larger cities along the route. Many farmers relied on the punctuality of these trains to move crates of grapes, apples, and early spring vegetables. As the train passes the station, you notice wooden carts filled with baskets waiting for the next departure. The sight hints at the life and work that flourish in this fertile valley. The station fades slowly behind you, replaced once again by open meadows and orchards. A soft blue haze rises from the distant fields, blending with the pale sky above. Birds circle lazily overhead, their calls carrying faintly through the morning air. You focus on the sound of the wheels, their gentle clicking steady and reassuring. Each rotation feels like a soft breath, a reminder that the train will continue forward with calm precision. You let your gaze drift across the landscape. A group of farmers works in one of the orchards, tending to the early blossoms. Their hats shield them from the sun that is beginning to warm the fields. You watch them move slowly between the rows of trees, their gestures practiced and careful. The movements bring a sense of grounding, as though the world outside the train is unfolding at its own gentle pace. The train climbs slightly, following the river as it narrows between low hills. The valley becomes more defined, with gentle slopes on both sides covered in new vegetation. Fresh leaves unfurl on the branches of small shrubs, their green color bright and tender. The mild scent of spring enters the carriage through a small window vent, carrying the earthy aroma of damp soil and young plants. You breathe it in slowly, letting the cool air fill your lungs and lighten your thoughts. As the train reaches the crest of the small rise, the view opens into a stretch of fields arranged in neat patches. Some areas have been freshly plowed, revealing dark, rich soil. Others are planted with rows of early crops that stand in tidy lines along the ground. Thin pathways run between the fields, used by farmers to move from one patch to another without disturbing the growing plants. The pathways form faint patterns across the land, quiet designs shaped by hands that have worked here for generations. A small bridge appears ahead, crossing a narrow tributary of the Loire. The bridge is made of stone, its arch graceful and sturdy. Moss grows along the edges, adding touches of soft green to its weathered surface. As the train rolls across, the wheels give a slightly deeper echo. You look down and see the clear water flowing beneath, carrying the reflection of the train for a moment before letting it drift away. The quiet scenery encourages you to rest your head gently against the seat. You feel the slow rise and fall of your chest as your breathing deepens, The movement of the carriage becomes a soft cradle, guiding your body into deeper relaxation. You notice how light your limbs feel, how the tension in your neck eases with each passing minute. The gentle rhythm of the train has become part of your breath, part of your calm. Another village approaches in the distance. This one sits on a low hill that slopes toward the river. Stone walls surround a church with a pointed steeple, and the cemetery beside it is dotted with white markers that glint faintly in the sunlight. The train slows just slightly as it passes a series of curves, allowing you to see the village from several angles. You notice smoke drifting from a small bakery chimney, likely carrying the scent of warm bread and sweet pastries through the nearby streets. At the base of the hill, a narrow path runs alongside the river. A pair of horses crosses it slowly, pulling a wooden cart laden with sacks. Their steady steps match the rhythm of the train for a brief moment, creating a quiet harmony between land and rail. When the track bends away from the river, the horses continue their path, their shapes fading gently into the landscape. A few minutes later, the hills rise slightly again, and the Loire widens into a broad stretch of shimmering water. Sunlight dances across the surface, forming tiny flashes of brightness. A group of fishermen stands along the bank, casting long lines into the water. They wear simple hats and well-worn coats, their movements patient and practiced. You imagine the gentle splash of the fishing lines falling into the river, blending with the soft humming of the train engine. The train glides across a small metal bridge, and the sound of the wheels changes again, creating a soft ringing resonance beneath the carriage. The reflection of the bridge appears in the river below, forming delicate lines that ripple as the water moves. You watch the reflection stretch and bend, shifting like a quiet dream that blends into the morning. Beyond the river, the land rises into low, rolling hills. The slopes are covered with vineyards, just beginning to show signs of growth. The vines still appear bare after winter, but you can see tiny buds forming along their branches. The vineyards stretch in long, gentle lines, curving over the hillsides like careful brushstrokes. During the early 1900s, this region was already well known for its wine, with families tending the same plots of land for generations. A small stone house sits among the vines, surrounded by a low wall. Its windows are framed with wooden shutters painted a soft green. A woman stands at the door, holding a basket filled with early vegetables. She lifts her hand to shield her eyes as the train passes, watching for a moment before turning back inside. The scene feels warm and calm, a glimpse of everyday life shaped by the rhythm of the land. The train begins to follow a broader curve of the Loire, revealing long stretches of water bordered by tall poplar trees. Their slender trunks reach toward the sky, and their early leaves shimmer with a silvery sheen. The branches sway gently in the breeze, creating a soft rustling sound that seems to drift through the carriage even though the window remains closed. You close your eyes for a moment, imagining the sound more clearly, letting it lull your thoughts into deeper stillness. When you open your eyes again, the light has shifted. The sun climbs higher, brightening the fields and casting soft shadows behind the trees. The colors outside grow warmer, blending pale greens with touches of gold. The river sparkles more brightly now, catching the sunlight in long streaks that follow the current. You feel a sense of clarity wash over you, as though the growing brightness is easing the last remnants of tiredness from your mind. The wheels continue their steady rhythm, a sound so gentle and familiar that it feels like part of the landscape itself. The train moves gracefully along the rails, guided by the craftsmanship of early 20th century French engineers. The Paris-Orléans Railway was celebrated during this era for its smooth track design and dependable locomotives, allowing travelers to glide through the Loire Valley in comfort. As the train travels farther from Orléans, the orchards grow denser. Blossoms drift through the air, carried by the breeze in small waves. Some petals land briefly on the windows before sliding away with the motion of the train. Others lift into the air, rising and falling like quiet breaths of the land. Their movement brings a sense of gentle beauty to the journey, reminding you of the softness that spring offers after winter's long rest. The track straightens again, and the train gains a little speed. The movement remains smooth, without any sharp jolts or breaks in rhythm. You feel the carriage glide effortlessly, giving your body a sense of floating. You let your shoulders relax again, noticing how the tension melts with each passing moment. Your breath remains slow and steady, syncing with the calm pace of the journey. More fields appear outside, dotted with early flowers in shades of purple and yellow. The colors add brightness to the landscape, forming gentle patterns that stretch across the ground. A few scattered trees create patches of shade where small groups of cattle graze quietly. The scene feels warm and natural, shaped by the cycles of the seasons and the care of the farmers who live here. The train gently follows another curve, and the river widens once more. A large barge floats near the shore, loaded with wooden crates. A man stands on its deck, guiding it with a long pole as it moves slowly along the water. His figure is reflected faintly in the rippling surface. The barge drifts at an easy pace, mirroring the calm rhythm of the train. As the scenery continues to pass by in slow, graceful motion, you feel your body sinking deeper into rest. Your thoughts drift lightly, unanchored, softened by the gentle sway. The cool air from outside mixes with the warm light inside the carriage, creating a sense of balance that feels comforting and serene. You watch the river and orchards shift in and out of view, each sight bringing a new layer of calm. The Loire Valley unfolds gently around you, revealing its early spring beauty with quiet confidence. The train carries you forward with the same serene rhythm, guiding you smoothly toward the next stretch of your peaceful journey. You glide forward, deeper into the heart of châteaux country, the carriage moving with a steady, restful ease. The light outside softens into a warm, buttery glow that spills across lawns and river meadows, and you feel your shoulders loosen further, as if the sunlight itself is untying knots. The rhythmic clicking of wheels on rails becomes a constant companion, steady and patient, like a slow heartbeat you can lean into. Through your window, grand stone roofs rise and fall along the horizon, the silhouettes of chateau towers appearing and receding like gentle memories. Their facades are softened by early spring light, ivy beginning to color in faint green, and the gardens below show signs of careful tending, rows of box hedges trimmed with quiet precision. You imagine the families and gardeners who once walked these grounds, the careful hands that shaped each path, the small rituals that mark the seasons here. Take a slow, even breath now. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Let the rhythm of the train match your breathing. Inhale calm, exhale everything that weighs on you. You feel the carriage sway, a reassuring motion that encourages your limbs to relax. Your jaw softens, your hands rest easily in your lap. The world narrows to this motion, this light, this gentle passage through history. The Paris-Orléans Railway has carried travelers through this region for decades. its lines extending during the 19th century to link Paris with provincial towns and river valleys. This fact moves quietly through your thoughts, a thread of continuity, engineers and porters, conductors and travelers, all crossing the same land in different years. The knowledge feels grounding rather than intrusive, like a stone placed in your palm. The train passes an old stone bridge where fishermen stand with long poles, their silhouettes calm and patient in the late light. You watch for a few breaths, letting the visual rhythm sink into the steady clicking beneath you. Inside the carriage, the scent of warm wood mingles with a faint note of lemon from the biscuits resting on the small tray. A steward moves quietly along the aisle, offering tea with a hushed smile. You accept, taking a small sip, feeling warmth move through your chest. The tea is gentle and familiar, its steam curling into the amber light like small, breathing shapes. Each sip follows the train's cadence, a tiny ritual that anchors you further into the present. The track curves and vineyards appear on the slopes beside the river, their new shoots a soft green against dark soil. Workers in flat caps tend the fields methodically, their hands moving with practiced care. You watch them, their motions slow and deliberate, and you sense in them a steady patience that mirrors the train itself. The scene feels unhurried, respectful of seasons, as though everything here moves to an older, kinder clock. You allow your eyes to close for a moment, not to sleep, but to rest. Feel the carriage breathe beneath you, the small rise and fall, the subtle vibration that runs along the floorboards. Your breathing slows naturally, matching the measured chuff-chuff of the locomotive. Each breath takes you further from daily hurry, guiding you deeper into the calm of this journey. Beyond the vineyards, a low hill hosts a small hamlet, its chapel spire rising like a soft punctuation in the landscape. Laundry flutters on a line outside a cottage, white cloths billowing briefly in a breeze, then settling. A child chases a hoop along the lane, laughter carried faintly on the air before fading into the rhythm of the rails. The human details here are spare and gentle, each one a quiet story that might have been read in an old travel letter, preserved in the slow pulse of the valley. You notice the subtle architecture of the châteaux now, mullioned windows, rounded towers capped in oxidized copper, dormer windows peeking from steep roofs. Gardens are laid out with geometric grace, gravel paths, clipped hedgerows, and beds of early bulbs pushing upward. Swallows trace the air above the eaves, and the scene feels alive yet composed, like a painting where every stroke is placed with intention. A soft announcement comes through the carriage, barely more than a murmur, naming the next small stop. You don't need to rise. The voice is kindly, matter of fact, a reminder that the world continues its careful routines even as you drift. The conductor's shoes click along the corridor, a sound that blends into the mechanical music of the train and then dissolves into silence again. The Loire widens briefly, forming a broad curve where reflections double the view of the chateau and trees. The mirrored image shimmers with little breaks made by the passing wind. Watching the double image is calming, as if you are seeing two layers of the same peaceful world, one slightly removed and quiet. Your breath follows the soft motion of the water, in, out, matching the train, matching the light. Every so often, the train crosses a low metal viaduct. The sound shifts slightly as the wheels meet the iron, producing a gentle hollow ring that resonates in the carriage. The note is brief and musical, adding a delicate punctuation to the continuous rhythm. The vibration moves up through your feet into your legs, a sensation that steadies rather than startles, reminding you of the solidity beneath this effortless motion. You picture the travelers of an earlier age here, wrapped in wool and cloaks, their faces softened by lamplight as they moved between cities and country retreats. Letters were passed, parcels exchanged, conversation unfolding in hushed hues. There is comfort in knowing that this path has carried so many before you. That continuity feels like a warm blanket wrapped around the present moment. The afternoon light begins to soften toward gold. Long shadows stretch from hedgerows across ploughed fields, and the scent of newly turned earth rises faintly on the breeze. The sound in the carriage murmurs in a collective sigh as passengers settle more deeply into themselves, each supported by the same gentle movement. Your eyelids feel heavier now, the soft weight of rest pressing pleasantly downward. Through the window, a grand estate appears with a formal parterre, its gravel paths outlined by low box hedges. A gardener sweeps steps near the entrance, precise and slow, his movements measured as the passing of time itself. You watch the small choreography of his work, the rhythm of his broom, a human echo of the train's motion. It is oddly reassuring to see the world maintained with such care, and you let that reassurance sink in. The train becomes a corridor through a living postcard, fields, orchards, water, and stone, each scene a quiet vignette. Here, a willow leans toward the bank, its branches brushing the water with feather-light touch. There, a narrow lane of beeches forms an arch the train passes beneath, the leaves whispering as you go. The sensory mix of sight, scent, and the steady tactile vibration beneath you forms a deep, easy calm. Take another gentle breath, and as you exhale, feel the last of the day's tightness leave your shoulders. The motion of the carriage steadies your mind like hands on the rails, guiding you safely onward. You find yourself lulled not only by sound but by a sense of belonging to the unfolding landscape, part of a long, peaceful chain of travelers crossing through seasons and light. As the light cools toward dusk, the chateaux recede slowly into softer silhouettes, their details blurring like memories at the edge of sleep. The sky warms in pale apricot and cool lavender, a canvas broad and untroubled. The wheels continue their unending pattern, a comfort that requires nothing of you except to be present, breathe, and let go. Your thoughts grow quieter, more like feathers drifting beside the window than sharp edges. The carriage holds you gently, a vessel of slow motion carrying you through a countryside that has long known how to move gently, how to keep its rhythms measured and kind. The next bend will bring Blois closer, yet for now, the train and the valley breathe together, soft and steady, unhurried and true. The soft rhythm of the train carries you farther along the gentle bend of the Loire, the afternoon light edging toward the warm colors of early evening. You sit quietly in your seat, feeling the smooth sway under you, a motion so steady that your breathing naturally slows to match its calm rise and fall. Outside your window, the spring countryside begins to settle, its long shadows stretching across fields of bright new grass. A few pale blossoms drift from orchard branches whenever the wind stirs, floating through the air like small pieces of white silk. You watch them drift and disappear behind the train, each one fading into the soft blur of green and gold. The river glints beside you, catching the changing light as the sky shifts from pale blue toward the soft amber of late day. The Loire has always been known for its broad, tranquil surface, and you notice how gently it moves now, as if it is slowing its own pace to welcome the quiet of evening. Small fishing boats rest along the edges, each one tied to wooden posts, each one barely rocking in the mild current. The way the river mirrors the sky creates a calm, wide ribbon of color that seems to follow the train with a patient, unhurried presence. The Paris-Orléans Railway, first opened in the early 1800s, played a central role in connecting these river towns, and you can sense how deeply the line is woven into the landscape. Some of the small stations you drift past still carry their original stone signs, framed by the same tall windows that have watched countless trains come and go since the early days of rail travel. You pass one such station now, its platform empty except for a single station lamp that glows with faint golden light. It flickers slightly in the breeze, casting a gentle halo across the still evening air. As the train continues, you feel yourself sinking deeper into your seat, letting your shoulders soften as the rhythmic clicking along the rails steadies your thoughts. The scenery becomes a slow panorama of spring color, rolling past in a calm, unbroken flow. You see a cluster of cottages near the river, their chimneys sending thin lines of smoke upward into the quiet air. A shepherd guides a small flock across a field, each sheep moving in an easy, relaxed shuffle through the tender new grass. Farther in the distance, the silhouette of another château rises above the fields, its towers faint in the softening light, but still full of quiet grace. The sky shifts toward a deeper shade of evening as the sun dips lower, giving everything the warm tone of brushed copper. The windows of the carriage catch the glow, tinting the cabin with gentle orange light. You notice how serene the atmosphere becomes as the day leans toward dusk. Even the sounds inside the train seem softer, from the light murmur of passengers settling into their seats to the faint clink of glass from the nearby dining car. Everything feels hushed, as if the journey itself is preparing you for stillness. The Loire widens as you continue south, opening into a broader sweep that reflects the sky with greater clarity. Tall poplars line its banks, their delicate branches swaying with the early spring breeze. You notice the faint scent of fresh earth drifting in through the slightly open window, along with a hint of cool river air. It refreshes you gently, the way early evening air often does in spring, leaving a calm feeling across your chest and shoulders. A subtle change in the train's motion begins to tell you that Blois is nearing. The rails feel just slightly smoother here, and the train's pace eases into a softer rhythm. You sense a quiet shift in the passengers around you, a small but certain stillness settling over the cabin. Someone closes their book with a delicate movement. Someone else straightens their coat, the gesture calm and unhurried. You remain relaxed, letting the gentle movement cradle you as the train begins its gradual approach. The town of Blois comes into view with the fading light settling beautifully over its rooftops. You catch sight of the hilltop silhouette of the Château de Blois, its shape rising softly above the clustered houses. The stone walls glow faintly in the evening light, reminding you of how long these historical structures have stood above the Loire. The rooftops step down the slope toward the river, each one framed by narrow streets that weave through the heart of the town. Lanterns begin to flicker on as dusk approaches, giving the streets a warm, welcoming glow. The train curves slowly toward the station, moving with a gentle care that keeps your body relaxed and at ease. You feel the soft change in vibration under the cabin floor, a slight difference in the sound of the wheels as the train glides across the final stretch of track. The sky deepens into a soft violet hue, with streaks of warm gold resting along the horizon. A few birds cross above the railway, flying toward their roosts for the night. The entire scene feels calm and peaceful, perfectly matched to the settling rhythm of the journey. As the station comes into view, lamps along the platform cast warm circles of light on the stone walkway. Their glow gently reflects off the polished sides of the carriage. You hear the distant footsteps of a station attendant preparing for your arrival, along with the soft rattle of a cart being wheeled into place. The train slows further, its movement becoming almost like a long exhale, and easing into rest after a tranquil glide through the valley. You remain still, breathing slowly, feeling the last gentle motions of the train as it prepares to stop. The calm light of evening fills the cabin, wrapping everything in quiet comfort. Soon the wheels come to a soft halt, the motion fading into a gentle memory inside your tired muscles. The peaceful glow of night settles across Blois, and the journey comes to a smooth, restful close. As this gentle journey draws to its peaceful close, you feel the quiet evening settle around you, soft and comforting, like a warm blanket being placed carefully across your shoulders. The motion of the train has come to rest, yet the memory of that smooth rhythm still lingers within you. Moving softly through your breath and through the slow way, your body now settles into stillness. The glow of twilight outside the window has deepened into a tender shade of blue, and the warm lamps along the platform add a gentle shimmer to the edges of the scene. Your breathing becomes calmer now, rising and falling in slow, even waves. Each inhale brings a soft sense of ease into your chest, and each exhale lets go of the last pieces of tension clinging to your muscles. The flow of the Loire River, the quiet villages, the rolling fields of spring, all drift through your thoughts like peaceful fragments of a fading dream. You let them move through your mind gently, without grasping, without effort, allowing the images to dissolve into a comforting blur of color and light. The stillness around you grows deeper. The calm evening air carries a faint scent of river water and blossoming trees, and it feels like the entire valley has slowed its pace, inviting you to do the same. You rest more fully now, supported by the quiet of night, supported by the softness inside your own breath, supported by the gentle memory of the journey. There is nothing left you need to do, nothing you need to think about. You are safe, relaxed, and ready to drift wherever sleep wishes to take you. Sweet dreams, and good night.